So I've had this question asked of my project about what is a scale model mean? And what do I mean by it? What am I doing?
Is you're taking the area of Jerusalem and you're scaling it down to a viewable size.
Right. Because I want to bring the experience, somewhat of the experience, down to a place where we can talk about it over a table. And one of the things that is going to be crucial about this is an understanding of the terrain and understanding of heights and distances and all that kind of stuff, putting it all together into a scale model so that you can see hills and valleys. And this is the thing that I think was crucial about what I want to do. Because if we look at a typical Bible map, so this is one of the Bibles that we have in our schoolroom. And this is one of many. This is a typical map right there. Can you guys see that? Typical map. Okay. This map tells you where things are because
it's very flat.
Yes, and so a map is something that says distance between one thing to another thing, right? And so if I were to have, let's say I were to have this disc here, and there's be a map, point A to point B. I would say this, so I want to get there, I want to go straight line from point A to point B. But what I don't know is anything in the middle here. Even if there's like structures, like a building, I know what I need to go around, but that's just about it because it's a two-dimensional representation of distance. What is between here and here? So there's other things that artists try to do to try to depict scale. And I found another one that's in one of our Bible dictionaries.
One of many. One of
many, and it's this one. This is this image right here. So it's an actual kind of a depiction of what things look like, and as a three-dimensional perspective. Now that's a lot better, isn't it? Than just gives you an idea of what goes where, and what things look like compared to something else. But it still doesn't really do a great job in giving us what the height is.
Even though it's drawn still very two-dimensional.
Yes.
Like, where is it? This path right there? Even though the whole city is 3D, this path is still very two-dimensional, and none of the background gives any scale to the city.
Yeah, right.
Like, the temple right there is massive, but we don't see it's massive.
Yeah, there's no scale to its size and stuff. And there's another one that I saw. So here's another great book here, and found some things I think are really pretty interesting in here about Jerusalem itself. So this is, when I was looking through, this is it right here. So this actually gives some elevations. So the Mount of Olives right here, 2,641 feet above sea level. The Mount of Offense, the Kidron Valley, and you can see this topographical map. The Hinnom Valley, Jaffa Gate, that's where, another picture of where we were at. They call this a transversal valley, the Trapeon Valley right in here. Some of the great pictures there. Love this part, Jerusalem tied to Nehemiah. So we'll be able to really focus on the history of this temple area. So a topographical map looks like this. Do you see the lines that are surrounding the terrain? And if you look closely also, that there are the lines have measurements on there. So now all of a sudden we have a true map that's saying here's the distance between one place to another, and here's the height between one thing and another. When you combine those things, you have something that looks something like this. So if I were to be able to say, I want to get from point A to point B here, because it's a two-dimensional object, but I also want to know the height, suddenly we can now go into another dimension of the map and go into the height. And what topographical maps do is measure and mark these height differences by a certain increment based on the map maker.
It isn't like the thing that's kind of weird about topographical maps that doesn't seem to register in our head. It draws one line at one height, and then it shows another line at a different height.
Yep.
So in the end, it looks like this, very weird and edgy. But when you, in your mind, convert this, you can actually kind of start to see the way that the landscape would be.
Right. So here's one way that they solve that. So if on a topographical map, and if we look on this map here, you can see that the lines are close together. That means that the distances between are measured closer. So if I'm going to put, so if this is one distance and this is another distance right here, if I put those close together, it shows something about that slope you're talking about. So if I put a bunch of lines closer together, what does that mean?
It means the slope is getting steeper.
Getting steeper. And if they're farther apart, what's that mean?
It means it's gaining height more gradually.
Yes.
Because as you see on this map, the more steep it is, like right there, the lines get a lot closer together. And it gets to the point where it can be cliff-like face.
Yes.
It's really weird.
So if you're trying to navigate this area, now you know you can look at a topographical map and go, oh, I'm not going to travel up this direction because that's a cliff, because I know that because the lines are close together. So I'm going to travel an easier route because, and I know where that is because the lines are farther apart. So this is what I want that scale model of this map of this to be, is that I want to show the topographical nature and how things are laid out, and so in a way that someone can look at it and like run their hand down the slopes and stuff. And so I want to kind of draw out what I'm thinking about, because we are kind of doing this. I am kind of doing this during Inktober, right? If I had a base plate that went like this.
Okay.
This corner here is going to represent the tallest part, which is the Mount of Olives. Okay. This corner here is going to represent another mountaintop that's not quite as tall as the Mount of Olives. It's called the Mount of Offense. It's right here. Mount of Offense, right.
Man, I'm offended
by that. So this corner here is going to represent the top of the region of the Hinnom Valley, kind of near Mount Zion. Mount Zion's going to be right over here. Then over here is the backside, and I call it the backside. It's another corner. It's the top of the Gihon Valley over here. Okay. So what this will look like, my hope is that, so from the Mount of Offense to the top of this Hinnom Valley here, it goes down pretty steep. And I'm going to make it the very bottom of the plate. And then it comes up kind of steep this way, like that. Okay, so this is one angle. So if we were to make this a topographical map, the cross section is this height. All right. So I think this is like, I want to say 2100, and this is 1970 right there. This goes back up, right? Now from the top of the Mount of Olives to the top of Mount of Offense, it kind of goes down here like that, and it comes up just like that.
Yes, sir.
From the top of Mount of Olives to the top part of this Gihon Valley over here, it goes like that.
Yes, sir.
And then from here, another valley. This is the Gihon Valley. It comes up like that.
All right.
So
now we've got basically what we would think of as the skyline.
Yes.
Except what we're seeing by the skyline is we are in the middle of this box looking around.
Right.
360 view is our skyline.
Yes. So if we were to draw a topographical map that would turn into our scale model, then I would have lines that would do this. You see how this is? So I'm drawing the lines, the topographical lines that kind of go like that. All right. But then there's another mountaintop that's actually taller than this. So it does this and it starts going down like that. And then there's another smaller mountaintop that does this. And then these two connect. Like
Yes,
that.
sir.
And then over here is another mountaintop, and this is actually Mount Moriah. This is where the temple is built, and it kind of connects this way, like that. So it does this, and now we're starting to form the Kidron Valley.
Interesting.
So then it comes back up in here, and this forms another smaller valley right here, and this gets really steep like that. Let's do this mount of a fence. It does this. Is this all making sense a little bit?
Yes, sir.
And now it starts to connect this way, like that. Now we're getting into this eastern slope of the Kidron Valley. You can kind of visualize where this kind of comes down and this comes down to form this Kidron Valley, and it kind of goes back up to form a smaller valley here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's do the same thing here. This is really shallow here. And this does this. And this goes down. And then Mount Zion pops back up.
Kind of forms another valley.
Yep, forms this valley in here, which is called the Hinnom Valley. Yeah, excellent. So this is the Hinnom Valley right in here. This is the Triponium. What is that called? It's called Tyropean Valley. So the Tyropean Valley is here. Kidron Valley is here. And it's the lowest part of this region here. And then it goes up into, that's kind of messy right there, but you get the idea, right?
Yes, sir.
And then it does this. And it climbs up back into this valley. So now all of a sudden we have what would essentially be, you'd be able to, be able to go down. So I'm gonna draw a line, it goes down, it goes up. This one goes down, it goes up really steep like that. Here it goes down, it goes up steep. Here it goes down and up steep. Down, up a little bit, steep. Does that look like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is actually a hill that goes like that. And then there's another hill that does this. And then there's this other hill that goes like that. That's kind of shallow. And then this is a hill like that. Seeing how all this lays out, is there another color? Is there, like, give me that red marker right there. So let's see if this shows up. So the temple sits on top of this, And then the city of David comes down the hill like this. Down here is where the pool of Siloam is down here. The pool of Bethesda is up here. So this is the temple deck. So the temple is set up here. King Herod's palace was on top of Mount Zion right here. And they built the city of Jerusalem, and they filled in the Triponian Valley here. They filled it in with dirt, so it was more level. And so the city of David was here. Then the lower city was right here. The upper city was right here. And then there was a third part of the city that kind of built out this way. But it all forms around this topography. The traditional site for the upper room was right in this city in here. So knowing all these things, so like knowing that the pool of Siloam is down in the valley from the temple, gives an idea. So when Jesus went from the temple down to the pool of Siloam, it showed there's a real understanding of it going down in that area.
Yeah, sometimes just like in Bible study and stuff, when it'll say like, and so went down, I think more south.
Yes.
But it really means, no, they went
down. They went down, right. Exactly. That's what I want to do. That's why topography is an important part of this project. And so really getting that down and understanding what the topography is going to be a crucial part of this, and probably spending a couple of days on that, talking to map experts and people who have been to Jerusalem a lot. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Thank you, man.